Okay, so in this section we're going to talk about walking through a turn and all the different steps and how the flow of that works. So the first thing you note is these individual player boards, as we talked about, are fantastic. The icons are on here and tells you everything you need to know. This is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, 5, 6, and during the winter stage you just go right there for winter, and the feeding step 7. And so that's the flow of the game. Step 1 is deciding what bonus you're going to get for that turn. And as we said before, we rolled the die and it was a 4, so we initially set it there. You can adjust it by using larva. I'll talk about that in a future section, but you would decide that now. And step 2 is program your nurses. These are hexagon little pieces, and you can see they would go wherever there were hexagon pieces, also here, and you program them out. So you say, okay, I'm going to do that. When everybody's done programming, you say, are we done? Okay, great. And then you move on to resolving the actions of these areas. So you would get larvae, this is get soldiers, and this is get workers. And then you're in step 3, which is assign workers. And this is done in player turn order, and then the workers go out and they do things either inside the ant colony itself or outside in the earth. Once that's all done, there's harvesting. Everyone does harvesting. That's on the main board. And then if anyone had programmed anything in here, they would do the nurse's bonus actions, which we'll again talk about. This is step 6, which is inventory reduction. This is your inventory here. Reduce that to your limit. And then, as I said, at the end of every 3 turns or after fall, you have a feed. And that's the flow of the whole turn. So let's talk about the significance of some of this. And first of all, if you remember what I said, it was you're programming. So you're assigning these nurses immediately now, and everyone does that and decides if they're done. And you also have to decide whether you're going to change your bonus action here or not. And then once you're done that and everybody's done, then that's fixed. So let's say this is what happens. So I'll get a larva here. That's what that does. That generates a larva. If I put 1 nurse there, I get 1 larva. If I put a second nurse there, then I would get a total of 3. And if I put all 3 nurses there, I would get a total of 5. So there's some efficiency gain there. Up here, it says, you notice I took 2 nurses to make 1 soldier, so I pick a soldier up there. And had I put a 3rd one there, I would make a 2nd soldier. So again, an efficiency gain by doing that. But I didn't do that, so that's fine. And here, it's making workers. It takes 2 to make a worker, and then 2 more to make another worker. No efficiency gain here, so workers are harder to make. And there was no bonus that applied to the actions I did, so that's okay. And then now, we're at the step 3, worker actions. So this is done in player turn order, and this is important because you can get into some blocking situations or some point scoring situations there. So player turn order will matter. Now, here you have 2 options. You can work inside the colony, as I said, or you can work outside. If you stay inside, you have these 4 options here, depending on your technology track. When you start the game, this is the only option you have. So you can come over here and just make a larva. Great. Later in the game, you can go make food, and this is brown or stone, which is earth or, brown or gray or earth or stone, and then here you can turn in food for points. So right now we have this option. Note that you can only ever put 1 worker in a square per time, so you can't do both in there. And that's what that is. Now the other option is going out onto the earth, outside of the hole, and you may not be able to see it here, but there's a little X there. Whenever you go out, then they will die. They can't come back. So use those actions wisely, because then of course you're going to have to remake them here if you want more. So let's talk about what you can do if you go out. Scoop this over here. There's section there. All right. So my worker comes out of his hole here, and basically what you can do a couple things. You can just move around, I guess, and die. Don't see any point to that. Mainly what you're going to be doing is putting these pheromones down, which are these little flat things that you got. Each person has their own color. And you're going to want to walk around and put these down. And let's say he moves over here. 1, 2, you get 3 movement points to start. And actually, our bonus for this turn, if you happen to catch that, was a +3 movement. But anyway, we'll just stop here, and then I can put the pheromone down. And what that does, this is how I'm going to get resources later in the game, because wherever you put the pheromone down, you get what's there. So you put a green cube, which is food, on the grass there, and then the brown cube, which is dirt, on the brown space there. And so now we have that loaded up, if you will, and there we are. Now another thing you can do, if later in the game, let's say your opponent's or yours pheromone is empty. Okay, so let's say this is later in the game, it's empty. You can get on the pheromone and clear it. And to clear it, you have to pay 1 brown cube or earth. So you just have to discard that. And then you clear this pheromone away, and now you can immediately place your own pheromone down, or a bigger one, better one, whatever you want, and it will repopulate with the goods that are underneath there. So that's quite handy if you run out of real estate. You can do the same thing with an opponent's pheromone if it's empty, and to do that, though, it's almost the same. You have to land on it, and you have to throw away your earth cube, but you also have to lose a soldier. You are in enemy territory, so you're fighting for this, I guess. And so you would have to give up a soldier as well. But the difference here is not only that, so this goes away, but you get the points, and the leaf symbol, everywhere you see these leaf symbols, are points. So you get 2 points for doing that. If you do it to your own, it doesn't matter what the points are. You don't get any points for doing it to your own. But the net effect is the same, because you get the space, and now, again, you can put pheromones down. Note that you can walk around for however many movement points as you have. So you can go 1, 2, and clear that, and then walk over here and clear that, and then place a pheromone down. Once you've placed the pheromone down, that's the end, even if you have movement spaces left. Apparently you just get exhausted. So there's that. Another thing you can do is you can fight bugs. And so we talked about the bugs in the setup, but you can fight the bugs, and that is based on this handy chart here. Ladybug takes 1 sword or soldier, so you have to have a soldier created in your colony to give up. And you immediately, if you do that, you get 2 food. So obviously you're eating the ladybug. If you kill the second bug, I can't remember the name of that bug, it takes 1 soldier, and you get a food and 2 points. And if you kill the spider, it takes 2 soldiers, and you get a food and 4 points. And note that doing that does not end your turn. The soldier's dead, but you can continue moving or lay down a pheromone from there. To lay down a pheromone, you can't lay it on a bug, so a lot of times that's the main reason you want to kill the bug, is to get some more real estate. So that's what else you can do with your worker action on the outside world there. So you're either laying down pheromones, clearing a pheromone, or killing a bug, basically. So let's note a couple rules about laying down the pheromones. As I just said, you can't lay a pheromone down that would be over top of your hole, or any exit hole, yours or your opponent's. You can't lay one down that would be over top of a bug. You can't lay one down where any part would be over top of water, and you can't violate the boundary. So in a 4-player game, the boundary is just the outside. In a 3-player game, that black line would be the boundary, and so forth. So you can't have any overhang, if you will. Now, one thing to note is these mushrooms are everywhere. So you can put the pheromone over top of a mushroom. That is fine, but it will only generate goods where there is no mushroom. So in this case, we would have a brown and a green and nothing. So that would look like this. And that's fine. Maybe what you have to do, you're boxed in, you really want that, I don't know, but that's how that works. It was unfortunate, I point this out to people, it was unfortunate in the rule book when they went over this example, for some of us who weren't really paying attention, they used the example where well, no, I can't find it. It was like this. It was like this, and they said nothing went where the mushroom was, which is true, but it kind of made it look like it was because of the points symbol. And so sometimes people thought that wherever there was a point symbol on a thing wouldn't generate a good. That's not true. It's just a matter of the mushroom. So one other thing to note about movement with the pheromones is whether there's goods on these or not. The next time you have a worker coming out, they can slide down the pheromone. So this would be 1, 2, 3, for instance. You could get all the way over there. So it's quite handy to slide down pheromones. I believe you can do that on your opponents as well, but again, it would cost you a soldier to fight through your enemy there. So just keep that in mind. All right. So that was the main actions of deciding on your bonus for the turn, and I'll talk about that one in the future. Programming your nurses, and then doing the worker actions in player turn order. And so now you can see that, here you see over here is red, so if they had built over there, that's why player turn order is going to start to matter a lot as far as who gets what real estate when. Player turn order does rotate, just rotates next player at the end of each season. So I'll stop here before going on for the next sections. Okay, so in